Well, hello, thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail. You're very welcome to the programme. Where we are is we're continuing here in Saintfield in County Down, and we're now at 2nd Saintfield Presbyterian Church, and you can see the castellated roof there. I always like to see that. Very much reminds me of a castle. Now, in 1795, a group of congregants left Saintfield Presbyterian, which is down in the town there, to form a new Presbyterian congregation called the Burger Cessation Congregation. And the original Presbyterian church became known as First Saintfield, and the breakaway became known as Second Saintfield. Now, the reason for the split is because of some of the congregation were unhappy with the Reverend Thomas Ledley Birch's political sermons. Of course, he was very much into the United Irish, and the Reverend Birch himself would actually be exiled to America for his part in the rebellion. He was actually chaplain of the United Irish, and I don't know what that I'm assuming it's a crypt of some sort. Don't think it's a watch house, no windies in it, so I'm assuming it's a burial vault. Now, thanks to the Reverend Birch's brother George, who was, in addition to being a yeomanry officer, was also the physician of the family of Lord Londonderry. And so the Reverend Birch and his 17-year-old son George, who also took part in the rebellion, missed out on the death sentence. The Seceders actually built their own church here in 1796, and in 1892 the original 1796 church was pulled down because it was dangerous, and the current church was then built on the same site. Now, in 1966, 1967, the church underwent extensive renovations. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you around, and I'm going to show you the graves of the first two ministers of this church. So a massive history in Saintfield, there's no doubt about it. And of course the Price family, who are still living actually in Saintfield House, actually established the town of Saintfield and built a lot of the churches, etc. And look at that part with the castellated roof, isn't that fantastic? Beautiful. So this is the first grave I want to show you. This is of the Reverend Thomas Walker. He was ordained here on the 4th of October 1796. So he was the first minister here. It says, erected by the succeeding congregation of Saintfield in memory, or to the memory of the Reverend Thomas Walker. And he was their first pastor who departed this life. And that was the 3rd of June, 1830. In the 57th year of his age. So there you go, that was the first minister. That's the Reverend Thomas Walker. And of course, he was installed here on the 4th of October 1796. And then this one here is of the second minister. And it says, erected by the young members of Saintfield Cessation Congregation over the grave of the Reverend Walter Moffat. He was their devoted succession and beloved pastor for 7 years. And I think that says his Bible ministering life. And then hard to make the rest out. So that's the second pastor of the church here. the second minister, the Reverend Walter Moffat, and that grave there is the first minister. That was the Reverend Thomas Walker. So there you go. Just one more wee thing I want to show you, and then we'll wrap this video up. There's another grave, hard to make out, but what I want to show you is the date stone for this church.